My God, I hate drugs.
12 people were killed in a road mishap in Davao del Sur at noon today. 12 died on the spot, while 5 others are in critical condition in a collision involving an L300 van and a truck in the municipality of Santa Cruz. Authorities are still looking into the details of that tragic accident. President Duterte met with the Filipino community in South Korea this afternoon, kicking off his 3-day official visit. The visit aims to seek greater partnership with South Korea in defense and security, trade and investment, and political cooperation. Duterte will have bilateral talks with South Korean President Moon Jae-in. Before leaving for Seoul early this morning, the president raised environmental concerns with potential investors. He cited the destruction brought by open-pit mining. He said he cannot accept investments at the expense of the environment.
We welcome infrastructures, factories and all, but we must protect the environment. I want them also to see how the extent of the damage to the country, the interest of the country, have been, so that we can understand each other when we talk. The Philippines could only take so much.
Amid ongoing bilateral talks with China, Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano says both countries are eyeing a joint exploration on oil and gas in the contested South China Sea. He says this could take place early next year. Cayetano has yet to provide details about the exploration, but he said it will happen if there will be no legal obstacles. The government has been criticized on how it is handling the country's territorial dispute with China, but Cayetano says the government has filed several note verbal against China, although he cannot disclose their contents. He says diplomatic protests do not always have to be loud and noisy.
Sinasabi nila, eto claim nila. Sinasabi naman natin, eto claim natin. In the meantime, may pumapasok ng mga foreign navy. In the meantime, yung ibang claimants may ginagawa rin. Okay. Tingin nyo magbubunga yung usapan kung every time na may disagreement, magsisigawan? To be fair to China, it's not one way. You know, they've been also listening to us, and there has been big developments. That's why I'm saying yung ating sovereign rights, yung nasa arbitration award at yung nasa UNCLOS, pareho lang yun eh.
Cayetano tells critics that he will resign and completely leave the government if any part of the Philippines is surrendered to China. A party-list lawmaker is pushing for measures to lessen the effects of the tax reform law or train law. ACT Teachers Representative Antonio Tino says they filed a bill last May to repeal some provisions in the train law, including the hefty excise tax on fuel. He joins calls by labor unions to increase the minimum wage to help low-income earners cope with the train's impact. Tino and other congressmen have filed a petition before the Supreme Court questioning the validity of the train law. Meanwhile, President Duterte keeps his hands off on proposals to amend it. Before leaving for South Korea this morning, the president said he's leaving it up to Congress to review, amend, or suspend the train law. He assures the public the economy is doing well despite rising prices of goods.
Lahat makita mo is oil na wala sa atin. Pagka bumaba yan, bababa lahat. Kaya ganon. So it's yung sabihin mo na whether it is a legislated salary, which is not really the practice, or hirap tayong lahat dito, it's oil. It's not because we are doing bad in business. We are doing fine. The exports. Problem is, I said, we have to buy oil to run everything, including to reach where you want to work.
Over 1,000 triathletes won a finish line. It was a day of testing one's endurance as the country hosts its first full-distance Ironman race. Our Pauline Versosa is in Subic Bay, where all the action is taking place. Hi, Pauline. What's the latest?
That's right, Mai. Today marks the very first full Ironman race here in the Philippines, where over 1,000 participants came here in Subic Bay, Zambales to witness this historic event. And just a few hours earlier, the very first Ironman Philippines was hailed 30-year-old Nick Baldwin from Seychelles. Nick finished the full Ironman course with a 3.8 swim, 180-kilometer bike, and a 43-kilometer run, while clocking the best time of 8 hours, 50 minutes, and 13 seconds. According to Baldwin, this was his most memorable race because this is his first Ironman title after 6 years since he started. Nick Baldwin did receive a grand prize of $25,000 and was awarded with a special medal of Alab ng Puso here in Subic. But following Nick Baldwin was runner-up Cameron Brown, who had a really tight race with the winner. In the last 10 kilometers, he was just behind by 2 minutes. But in the end, Cameron just lacked that firepower to overcome the leader. But apart from the professional winners here in Ironman Philippines, another monumental event is when the very first Pinoy crossed the line here in the first Ironman full race Philippines. August Benedicto from Tarlac City, the 33-year-old, shared that he went through many hardships before and during the race, especially with bike problems. But according to him, he just used his family as his biggest motivation to complete this race. The Ironman race is still ongoing here in Subic Bay, Zambales, and the last runner is expected to finish at 11:45 p.m. Mai?
Truly remarkable performance for all the athletes. Thank you, Pauline Versosa, reporting live from Subic Bay in Olongapo. It will be a happy school opening for grade school students in Albay. Students from grades 1 to 3 from 13 schools in the Bicol region received school bags and other supplies from the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines. The NGCP's Gamit ni Bulilit project has been giving assistance to elementary students in about 400 schools in the country. And that's what's happening in the newsroom this Sunday, June 3. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Stay with CNN Philippines, where we tell the story of the Filipino. Good night. City. Actual video of that scuffle has surfaced. We'll show you the footage in a bit. Millions of students go back to school tomorrow. Now, are there any changes in the prices of school supplies? We'll give you the latest from Divisoria. And the country holds its first ever full Ironman competition. We check out the action in Subic Bay. Good evening, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Thanks for joining us. Jeron Teng of the Alaska Aces and 2 other basketball players were hurt in a brawl at the BGC in Taguig early this morning. 2 suspects were arrested and facing charges of frustrated homicide. Rex Ramitio joins us from Taguig City. Rex, can you give us more details on this incident, and has the motive been established?
Well, here's what I have so far. The suspects are now facing charges of frustrated homicide and serious physical injury. The suspects are identified as 40-year-old Edwin Lacanlale and 37-year-old Williard. His name is Williard Basili. Both from the construction industry. Lacanlale is a contractor and Basili is an inspector. They are both residing at Putatan in Muntinlupa City. Lacanlale is a U.S. citizen while Basili is supposed to be a Filipino-American. In a press conference this afternoon, Metro Manila Police Chief Guillermo Eliazar and Southern Police District Chief Tomas Apolinario were not able to present Lacanlale and Basili because cases are yet to be filed against them. And they're currently under the custody of the Taguig City Police. Eliazar says both the group of Teng and the suspects don't know each other personally. The victims were just walking outside the bar at the 4th Strip in Taguig City. Eliazar then narrated what happened next. based on their initial investigation.
Itong mga basketball players in the fans na were nag-grenade daw, tinanong idol, pero hindi napansin, tapos minura na itong suspect. So, initially, nung nakita natin, I asked the victims, si Norbert, at sabi niya, allegedly, yun nga, yung parang binastos yung girlfriend, at pati sila rin, sinabihan pa ng, bitch or gago, something like that.
Now we're going to show you the actual footage of the scuffle. Just a reminder, this is an actual footage that contains violence, and viewer discretion is advised. Station 7 Commander Chief Inspector Joseph Austria meanwhile says their 24/7 police patrols chanced upon the suspects and immediately arrested them at the site. All of the victims were immediately rushed to the St. Luke's Medical Center in Taguig. Norbert Torres has 11 stitches after he was stabbed in his left arm. Peg has 3 deep stab wounds at his back, while Thomas Torres is now out of surgery. The police showed a sketch of the ring knife used by the suspects. It has not been recovered. The suspects meanwhile say it was the group of Tengs who provoked them and initiated the brawl. But Jeron Teng's brother, also PTA player Jeric, disagrees.
Pabalik na sila ng kotse, pauwi na. Tapos napagtripan pa sila. Tapos yun nga, I don't know what they're saying na self-defense. Kasi si Jeron, yung saksak niya talaga, it was a deep cut sa likod pa. Tapos sa side din. So he was very lucky dahil pwede matamaan yung vital organs, pero buti wala. Pero yun nga, lahat sila sila Norbert Torres and Thomas Torres, lahat sila may mga deep cuts. So how can you say that it's a self-defense? Puro ang lahat ng tama sa kanila.
The Southern Police District meanwhile says that they will beef off the security in the area. They will coordinate with establishments to strengthen their security measures, their inspection measures, and they will also coordinate with the local government to further police the entire 4th Strip 24/7. Mike.
Rex, based on this new footage that we're showing, it seems that there were many witnesses to that brawl. Has police established where did the weapon come from? I mean, who was holding it, and what type of weapon is it again, and who was holding that weapon?
Well, basically, it was a ring knife. It's very small. Your palm is even bigger than that. And according to Southern Police District Chief Tomas Apolinario, it's really hard to be detected since it's really small. And on the witnesses, we have yet to see a witness that will surface and testify before the police. That's why they will still conduct further investigation to resolve the case in this matter. Mike.
Rex, I guess many basketball fans want to know now, how are they doing, Jeron Teng and his 2 companions?
Well, so far, they're still recovering. Some of them are still in the hospital, while as we have seen, Norbert Torres is already out and already talked with Eliazar and Apolinario. Of course, they will be missed by their fans, especially now that the Philippine Basketball Association season has just started. Mike.
All right, thank you, Rex Demetrio, reporting to us from Taguig City. The summer vacation is now over. Students will be going back to school tomorrow. To prepare them, parents braved crowds in Divisoria for a last-minute shopping of affordable school supplies. Our Makoy Papioko has that story.
Before students get their first day high tomorrow, Practical parents are on a last-minute shopping rush here in Divisoria in Manila. Vendors say the crowd that you're seeing now seems to double the number of the people who flocked here yesterday. Parent Susan Lopena is working on a tight budget of 3,000 pesos for her 5 students. Her youngest, 6-year-old Clark, joined her as she wrestles her way through the thick crowd. Lopena spent over 1,000 pesos for 29 notebooks, 40 pad papers, 16 pens and ball pens, and other items. She also bought 2 bags, 2 pants, and 3 white uniform shirts. All in all, she spent over 2,500 pesos. She decided to save the remaining 400 pesos for her children's transportation cost tomorrow. Like Lopena, most of the parents here were shopping last minute due to either budget or time constraints.
Okay lang yung masikip basta mabili lang lahat. Bali may iba pa sir. Tapos sunod araw na lang. Wala na budget, ubos na nito.
Thank you, Mama. Kahit mainit, ganun po talaga kasama sa pamimili yun
Pero bakit ngayon lang kayo namili?
Ngayon lang po may pera Ngayon lang po dumating yung last trip po. Ngayon lang po kasi nagbigay yung anak ko ng pera para sa mga apo ko.
Okay naman po. Kasi hindi naman nagbago po yung presyo Simula nung matumal hanggang matapos, ganun pa rin naman po yung presyo.
Vendor Annalisa Nunag says the prices of commodities have remained the same since last year. Notebooks and pad paper cost at least 10 pesos each. Pens and ballpens start at 7 pesos per piece. For 150 pesos, one can buy a school bag or a pair of uniform pants or shorts. And for 100 pesos, one can buy a white uniform shirt or skirt. These prices are almost the same in every stall selling around the Divisoria complex.